good to go. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtottara Sata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Mayi ki jai. Jamuna Mayi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Tulsi Devi ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, and welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Monday, February 17th, 2025 in New York, and I have been informed that tonight's starting verse is 4th Canto, Chapter 11, text number 6. Does that look correct? Sorry, Maharaj, you're muted, I think.
Yeah, that looks like where my bookmark is.
Okay, Jai. Glad you could be with us, Maharaj. We are broadcasting live from Mantra Central in Syracuse, New York, with Bhakta Michael Neubauer on harmonium and lead vocals. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Let me get to our page here. Just a moment. Thank you for your patience. Text 6. Tanhanyamanan abhivikshya guhyakan anagashas chitra ratena purishaha autanapadin kripaya pitamaho manura jagado pagata saharshibihi. When Swayambhuva Manu saw that his grandson Dhruva Maharaj was killing so many of the yakshas who were not actually offenders, out of his great compassion, he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instruction. Dhruva Maharaj attacked Alakapuri, the city of the yakshas, because his brother was killed by one of them. Actually, only one of the citizens, not all of them, was guilty of killing his brother, Uttama. Dhruva Maharaj, of course, took a very serious step when his brother was killed by the yakshas. War was declared, and the fighting was going on. This sometimes happens in present days also. For one man's fault, a whole state is sometimes attacked. This kind of wholesale attack is not approved by Manu, the father and lawgiver of the human race. He therefore wanted to stop his grandson Dhruva from continuing to kill the yaksha citizens who were not offenders. Om Jnana Tibirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada here points out the difference between the times in which these activities were taking place and the present day. He says this happens in present day also. For one man's fault, a whole state is sometimes attacked. We've seen this in the beginning of even large-scale conflicts in the world, that they're sparked by one particular event that just snowballs into a whole conflagration. Another huge difference happening that we see is that in the case of Dhruva, we had intervention from the higher realms of the universe, and we might wish we had similar intervention in present day conflagrations, but we seem to not. And yeah, that's certainly lamentable. And Hare Krishna. Maharaj, would you care to comment on this?
Seems you've covered it well.
Hare Krishna.
Just Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Shaniti Namini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharani Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pashtati Deshtani. Just more of a political comment than a spiritual one. If such an event doesn't take place and we want to attack a whole state, then we can invent such an event. That's fairly common these days also. Means not just recently, but it's gone on for a long time.
Maharaj, it occurred to me also that the question may arise in a careful reader that, well, if Manu himself saw fit to intervene in the case of maybe his direct relative Dhruva, why don't we see intervention from the higher realms when we get into much larger scale conflict here nowadays?
The Dhruva Maharaj was worthy. He's worthy of being instructed. That's the main difference I would see. Otherwise, there's so many innocent people suffering because of political circumstances. But where's the leader like Dhruva Maharaj to be instructed? That seems to be the difference.
In other words, the good instruction comes when it's determined that it might be accepted.
That it might be accepted, and also that it's somebody on whose behalf we might care to intervene. Otherwise, let the bastards kill themselves, bunch of savages, both sides being deplorable, sinful people. The example is given of a thorn taking out another thorn. So Prabhupada gives the example of students who would misbehave in class, and the professor would have them both get up to the front, and then each student would have to take the ears of the other student and pull. So these things are going on. It's not that everyone is quite so innocent. So, all right, let it go on. But in this case, Dhruva Maharaj is being saved from a sinful activity because he's by nature a great devotee of the Lord.
Jai, thank you. There's something more?
No.
Okay. I believe Prabhin Krishna Prabhu posts a comment here. He says it's different for offenses to devotees. And then he quotes, Mahantera apamana ye desha grame hoy, eka janara doshe saba desha ujadai. Wherever an advanced devotee is insulted, for one man's fault, the entire town or place is afflicted. And there's more. Prabhin Krishna Prabhu says, this is a conversation. I think we heard this recently in class. Burijan Prabhu says, we walk up to two small ponds. One has a Viking statue, a warrior on horseback blowing a trumpet. Prabhupada, Yasho queries, were the Vikings Kshatriyas? No, Prabhupada answers. Kshatriyas fought on religious principles. They were noble warriors, religious, not murderers. Then what about the modern soldiers? Do they go to the heavenly planets when they die on the battlefield? No, simply demons fighting demons for economic reasons. How can they go to heaven? They go to hell, both sides. Thank you, Prabhin Krishna Prabhu. Any other comments or questions here before we move on? All right. If you have the text up, Prabhu, you can go right ahead. I'll make sure your volume is up. Okay.
Manor vacha alam vatsati roshena tamodvarena papmana yena punya jananetan avadhishtvam anagasaha. Lord Manu said, "My dear son, please stop. It is not good to become unnecessarily angry. It is the path to hellish life. Now you are going beyond the limit by killing yakshas who are actually not offenders." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this verse, the word atiro shena means with unnecessary anger. When Dhruva Maharaj went beyond the limits of necessary anger, his grandfather, Swayambhuva Manu, immediately came to protect him from further sinful action. From this, we can understand that killing is not bad, but when killing is done unnecessarily, or when an offenseless person is killed, such killing opens the path to hell. Dhruva Maharaj was saved from such sinful action because he was a great devotee. A Kshatriya is allowed to kill only for the maintenance of the law and order of the state. He is not allowed to kill or commit violence without reason. Violence is certainly a path leading to a hellish condition of life, but it is also required for maintenance of the law and order of the state. Here, Lord Manu prohibited Dhruva Maharaj from killing the Yakshas because only one of them was punishable for killing his brother, Uttam. Not all of the Yaksha citizens were punishable. We find in modern warfare, however, that attacks are made upon innocent citizens who are without fault. According to the law of Manu, such warfare is a most sinful activity. Furthermore, at the present moment, civilized nations are unnecessarily maintaining many slaughterhouses for killing innocent animals. When a nation is attacked by its enemies, the wholesale slaughter of the citizens should be taken as a reaction to their own sinful activities. That is nature's law. I find it very profound that Prabhupada's saying that a Kshatriya is allowed to kill only for maintenance of the law and order of the state. And actually what, not sure what his name was, but the Prabhu that just posted this comment.
Praveen Krishna Prabhu.
Praveen Krishna Prabhu. He actually, the conversation that he just posted where Prabhupada was saying a Kshatriya only kills on religious principles, it goes hand in hand with this. And it's very profound that, you know, now in this day and age, all the wars that are happening are just the opposite of religious principles. It's all for sense gratificatory reasons, people wanting land and wanting power, and it's based off of lust, anger, and greed. And Prabhupada says in the beginning also that the word atiro sena means with unnecessary anger. And most of, if not all of the war that's happening now in this age in society is just based off of unnecessary anger, which is due to the, you know, the slaughterhouses, the automated animal slaughter that's going on in the name of religion and so on. Maharaj, do you have anything to add?
No, I think we've covered it pretty well. Let's just see. The Ati Roshena, too much anger.
Maharaj, I'm sorry to interrupt. You might want to pull your screen down just a bit.
Yeah.
Thank
Right there. Yeah, nothing to add here. Just that the yakshas are described as punyajana, although sometimes we hear that yakshas are a kind of demon. Here they're described as punyajan, pious beings. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Any other comments before we look for our next reader? I think that's it. Panchatattva Prabhu, are you willing to read our text number 8?
Sure, little mouth problem, but yeah.
Oh,
Text number 8.
yes, sir.
Nasmat kulochitam tata karmaitat sad vigarhitam vidho yad upadevanam arabdhaste kritainasam. My dear son, the killing of the sinless yakshas which you have undertaken is not at all approved by authorities, and it does not befit our family, which is supposed to know the laws of religion and irreligion. I continue? Oh, Guru Maharaj, would you like to comment on this?
This Asmat Kulochitam, the befitting for our family. The Kshatriyas especially had honor. And honor is not just what would you say, arbitrary thing, but the Kshatriyas were honored for upholding religious principles. If a family is dharmic, then they're honorable. So to act contrary to dharma reflects badly not only on Dhruva Maharaj, but on the whole family. So for that reason also, the Swayambhuva Manu intervenes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. If you'd like, Prabhu, you can continue. Otherwise, I can ask someone else. No problem.
Sure, I'll do another. Nandve kasya paradhena prasangad bhavo hata bratur vadabitaptena tvayanga bratrivatsala. My dear son, it has been proved that you are very much affectionate towards your brother and are greatly aggrieved at his being killed by the yakshas. But just consider, for one yaksha's offense, you've killed many others who are innocent. Any comments? I guess mentioned before. Overreaction. Text 10. Nayam margo hi sadhunam rishikesh anuvartinam yadatmanam paragrihya pashuvad bhutavaishasam. One should not accept the body as the self, and thus, like the animals, kill the bodies of others. This is especially forbidden by saintly persons who follow the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The words sadhunam rishikenan uvartinam are very significant. Sadhu means a saintly person. But who is a saintly person? A saintly person is he who follows the path of rendering service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rishikesh. In the Narada Pancharatra, it is said, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate. The process of rendering favorable service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with one's senses is called bhakti, or devotional service. Therefore, why should a person who is already engaged in the service of the Lord engage himself in personal sense gratification? Dhruva Maharaj is advised here by Lord Manu that he is a pure servitor of the Lord. Why should he unnecessarily engage like the animals in the bodily concept of life? An animal thinks that the body of another animal is his food. Therefore, in the bodily concept of life, one animal attacks another. A human being, especially one who is a devotee of the Lord, should not act like this. A sadhu, a saintly devotee, is not supposed to kill animals unnecessarily. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Gurudas Jayadvaita Swami Namine Om Ajnana Timarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshu Maritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So Swayambhuva Manu is advancing his instruction to Dhruva Maharaj, indicating that this retaliation is not befitting saintly persons or persons who are engaged in following the path of devotional service, particularly this extreme retaliation, causing unnecessary violence to others. Prabhupada emphasizes here at the end of the purport that a sadhu is not supposed to kill animals unnecessarily. A devotee by nature is soft-hearted and averse to unnecessary violence of any kind. Therefore, when Murugari, the reformed the previous hunter and now a servant of Srimati Tulsi Devi and the Supreme Lord, was observed by Narada Muni and I believe Parvat Muni as being unwilling and averse to even causing difficulty to an ant by avoiding stepping on them. This was kind of a certification, in one sense, of his transformation into a sadhu, because his behavior had become so mild and compassionate towards other living entities that he was seeing that whether the body of a man or the body of an animal or the body of an insignificant ant, he was seeing the soul in its relationship with Krishna. So these are very good instructions. Rishikesh is the master of the senses, and bhakti involves using one's senses in the service of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Guru Maharaj, would you like to say something?
There's a story here. One time, while I was editing this section of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada came to New York. We were at the Henry Street Temple at that time. And Prabhupada called me in, I was providing, I think, the edited text of what we were working on. That seems to me, if I recall what I was doing, I was just supplying Prabhupada the text so that he could look at it. And Prabhupada called me in and he said, "Why Lord Manu?" I said, "It shouldn't be Lord Manu." He said, "Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva. Why Lord Manu?" I said, "Shouldn't be Lord Manu." So, all right. Then I went back and looked at listened to the tape or looked at the transcription. It was Prabhupada who'd said Lord Manu. So then I was quite bewildered, I think. I didn't know quite what to think and didn't have the gumption, I guess, to go back to Prabhupada and say, "Prabhupada, but you said Lord Manu." So there it was. And it looks like I just left Lord Manu. What do I do now? Looks like I left Lord Manu. One could challenge that at this point and say, well, no, Prabhupada said, and I wouldn't quarrel with that. But thinking in retrospect of, what was the purport of Prabhupada's instruction, I took away that he wanted his editors to be scrutinizing, that we should examine everything carefully. Now, as far as whether it should be Lord Manu or not, I'm probably still as bewildered now as I was then. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you so much for that. Of course, what you just said brings up a point, because as you say, Prabhupada
I was just reading, someone was relating another editing thing where a devotee had
Panchatattva Prabhu, you're mysteriously frozen. While you're unfreezing or thawing, I will continue with what I was going to ask. So, Maharaj, you mentioned that Prabhupada wanted his editors to be very scrutinizing, but at the same time, that instance that you just narrated was Prabhupada himself being scrutinizing of something that he himself had said, but whether someone, you in this case, would have questioned Lord Manu to Prabhupada is itself questionable, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said to Prabhupada, why Lord Manu? Looks fine to me. Prabhupada says Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, Lord Manu. I don't have a problem with it. Now, looking back at it today, I might say, well, Lord Manu, no Lord Manu was Prabhupada's last word on the matter, so Lord should be out. I think one could make that case. But anyway, I don't work there anymore.
Hare Krishna. Panchatattva Prabhu, are you back with us? Can you continue
Yeah.
with?
My computer was acting a little fritzy there, but I think we're okay. Windows. Should I read text 11? Is that what you want me to do?
You were making some point.
This devotee who was engaged in editing had inserted that that Ajamil had chanted the name Narayan 3 times, and Prabhupada was correcting. He was very stern with him, saying, well, why 3 times? What is this? Did I say 3 times? So the editor was caught up in this and had to admit, no, it was a mistake. And as I recall, Prabhupada, it was, he explained to him, once is enough. Went on to explain that the potency of the holy name is such that, in this case, Ajamil was delivered by once chanting the holy name of Narayana. Hare Krishna.
There's in the chat box.
Yes, Prabhin Krishna Prabhu says, honor of the family is a big consideration still among the communities in India for decisions. One devotee from a Brahmin family, whose father left the Brahmin activities for a laborer job, was told by the family members, quote, "This does not bring auspiciousness for our family. Please desist from such activities." Thank you for that.
Even in other countries, there may still be some sense of honor and dishonor. Of course, the families may be dishonorable in so many ways, but something outstandingly bad or likely to bring approbation, it has to be considered a blot on the whole family. The Chanakya Pandit says if there's a fire in the hollow of one tree, the whole forest catches fire. So if there's some disgrace in the family, then it falls on the family. It used to be that divorce was like that. If someone got divorced in the family, it was like a disgrace to the family. Now, of course, it's common business, but I remember it was like that. Other things, of course. Even today, if the son becomes a criminal or something like that, the whole family is tainted. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Maharaj, only because I've been absent for some of the classes immediately preceding, I probably missed discussion of what I was about to ask about, and that is, has it been discussed in some detail? Why was it? What pushed Dhruva Maharaj to, as a great devotee, as a sadhu, to really overstep the bounds of anger and just declare war on a whole race of people for the offense of only one of them?
I think that did come up. All I could come up with was, well, one, that such things happen, and two, that it seemed like it was Krishna's arrangement for performing some pastimes. These things sometimes go on that way.
Mm-hmm. And Panchatattva Prabhu says, sometimes one thing leads to another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's a slippery slope, as they say.
Mm.
Let's see. Vijay Krishna Prabhu, would you like to read our next text, which is text 11?
Yes, Ekendra Das Prabhu, thank you very much, you're most kind. Sarva Bhutatma Bhavena Bhuta Vasam Harim Bhavan Aradyapa Duraradyam Vishnostat Paramam Padam. Translation. It is very difficult to achieve the spiritual abode of Hari in the Vaikuntha planets, but you are so fortunate that you are already destined to go to that abode by worshipping him as the supreme abode of all living entities. Purport. The material bodies of all living entities cannot exist unless sheltered by the spirit soul and the super soul. The spirit soul is dependent on the super soul, who is present even within the atom. Therefore, since anything, material or spiritual, is completely dependent on the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord is referred to here as Bhuttavasa. Dhruva Maharaj, as a Kshatriya, could have argued with his grandfather, Manu, when Manu requested him to stop fighting. But even though Dhruva could have argued that as a Kshatriya it was his duty to fight with the enemy, he was informed that since every living entity is a residence of the Supreme Lord and can be considered a temple of the Lord, the unnecessary killing of any living entity is not permitted. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyanam Jana Shalakaya Shakshur Unmilitam Jena Tajmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Sva Padantikam. I do not have a comment. I have a question. Because at the very end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada is declaring that every living entity is a residence of the Supreme Lord and can be considered a temple of the Lord. So it amazes me that the Lord chooses as a temple for him to reside, for example, the body of an ant or the body of a snake. So how do you explain that? My question is, how do you explain that the body of an ant is a suitable place for the Lord to inhabit, for the Lord to use it as a temple for him to inhabit? That is my question. Because I am asking like this because what we think as a suitable residence or a temple for the Lord to inhabit is a palace or something of the sort, some residence of the sort. But for example, the body of an ant, the body of a snake, how do you explain such kind of choice made by the Lord? That is my question.
He's Jananivas. He lives in everyone. Ishra Sarvabhutanam Pride Sirjanatistati. It's not that he has to move into a good place. When he moves there, it becomes good. It becomes a temple. The tilak markings signify that also, that the body is a temple of the Lord. So all living beings, therefore, are the bodies of all living beings are temples because Krishna lives there. Therefore, Prabhupada, I think, quotes Mahim Sat Sarvabhutani. One shouldn't commit violence to anyone because Krishna is there. They're all sacred places. We lack that vision, but the whole world becomes sacred when seen in relationship to Krishna. There's no question of good or bad. Even the great palaces and temples, they're unsuitable for Krishna too. They're, just material places. But because Krishna goes there, the place becomes sanctified, because Krishna appears there. Or because one has spiritual vision, one sees that, yes, this body is as good as a temple.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much.
Also, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that this verse goes with the next one. Otherwise, we look at it, why is Manu saying that you're already destined to go to the abode of the Lord? What's that have to do with the subject at hand? But it becomes apparent in the next verse why this statement is being made.
Of course, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare
Krishna. Prabhin Krishna Prabhu has a comment here. I am not sure about the reference, but I heard that Dhruva Maharaj didn't want to show that he was passive when his brother was killed, which would indicate he wanted his brother dead.
Yeah, I don't know the reference, but it is notable that there was the whole impetus for the Dhruva's austerities and so on was a sort of not envy, but a dissatisfaction that his brother Uttama had been allowed to sit on the lap of the king while he himself wasn't. But here we see that Dhruva takes the side of his brother, or avenges the death of his brother. We find there's also in Mahabharata where the Gandharvas capture Duryodhana. They're going to kill Duryodhana while the Pandavas are residing in the forest. And so the Pandavas, led by Yudhisthira, they free Duryodhana from the grip of the Gandharvas. So the question can be raised, why did they do that? These are their enemies, and the Gandharvas are doing them a favor if they kill Duryodhana. But then the answer was, well, this was a family matter. By attacking Duryodhana, they've attacked our family, and so we have to protect Duryodhana, which of course was humiliating to Duryodhana also, because to be saved by the Pandavas was humiliating. But anyway, they acted in that way, a matter of duty.
Jai. Priti Purnamadavi Devi, would you like to read our text 12?
Yes, Prabhuji. Swatvam harer anodhyatas pumsan api sammatah katham tva avadyam kritvan anushikshan satamritan. Translation: because you are a pure devotee of the Lord is always thinking of you, and you are also recognized by all his confidential devotees. Your life is meant for exemplary behavior. I am therefore surprised. Why have you undertaken such an abominable task? Purport: Dhruv Maharaj was a pure devotee and was accustomed to always think of the Lord. Reciprocally, the Lord always thinks of those pure devotees who think of him only 24 hours a day. As a pure devotee does not know anything beyond the Lord, so the Lord does not know anything beyond his pure devotee. Swayambhu Manu pointed out this fact to Dhruv Maharaj. Not only are you a pure devotee, but you are recognized by all pure devotees of the Lord. You should always act in such an exemplary way that others may learn from you. Under the circumstances, it is surprising that you have killed so many faultless yakshas. Uh, Maharaj, do you want to come in?
Yeah, it seems that not only was Kendra surprised, but even Manu was surprised. Why was Dhruva doing this? This is unsuitable. Yad yad acharati shreshtas tattare vetarojana. Whatever a leading person does, everyone else follows. So you're a person who's always remembered by the Lord himself. The Lord was so kind that he granted you this Vaikuntha planet, the pole star. So if such a person as you kills faultless living entities wholesale, that's a bad example. How is it that why should you be acting like this? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And further to underscore what you're saying, Maharaj, Srila Vishwanath, in his commentary to this, brings it to an even another angle here. This is the commentary. He says, you always remember the Lord, and this means the Lord out of affection makes him remember. You are always considered by the devotees such as Narada. This means that he is the object of mercy of these great devotees. So he's arguing in such a way that, you're honored and cared for by these great personalities. You don't want to let them down, basically. Any other comments or questions here? I think let me look at the next verse, see how long our purport is for text 13. It's quite lengthy-ish.
Okay.
Just checking in the chat for any other comments here. I think we can read this. Ross Prabhu, would you like to read our next text? We're on 13 now.
Titiksaya Karunaya Maitreya Chakila Jantusu Samatvena Cha Sarvatma Bhagavan Samprasidati. Translation. The Lord is very satisfied with his devotee when the devotee greets other people with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Purport. It is the duty of an advanced devotee in the second stage of devotional perfection to act in accordance with this verse. There are 3 stages of devotional life. In the lowest stage, a devotee is simply concerned with the deity in the temple, and he worships the Lord with great devotion, according to rules and regulations. In the second stage, the devotee is cognizant of his relationship with the Lord, his relationship with fellow devotees, his relationship with persons who are innocent, and his relationship with persons who are envious. Sometimes devotees are ill-treated by envious persons. It is advised that an advanced devotee should be tolerant. He should show complete mercy to persons who are ignorant or innocent. A preacher devotee is meant to show mercy to innocent persons whom he can elevate to devotional service. Everyone, by constitutional position, is an eternal servant of God. Therefore, a devotee's business is to awaken everyone's Krishna consciousness. That is his mercy. As for a devotee's treatment of other devotees who are his equals, he should maintain friendship with them. His general view should be to see every living entity as part of the Supreme Lord. Different living entities appear in different forms of dress, but according to the instruction of the Bhagavad Gita, a learned person sees all living entities equally. Such treatment by the devotee is very much appreciated by the Supreme Lord. It is therefore said that a saintly person is always tolerant and merciful. He is a friend to everyone, never an enemy to anyone, and he is peaceful. These are some of the good qualities of a devotee.
Anything you'd like to comment on there, Prabhu? Something?
No, Prabhu.
Thanks for reading. Maharaj, would you care to share something from your side?
The neophyte devotee is very much concerned with himself and the Lord, and his whole business is to try to please the Lord. But the Lord's not so pleased when it's just you and me. Prema Maitri Kripopeksha. When one comes to at least the middle status, Madhyamadikari, then the Lord is more pleased. Yes, he's showing kindness to the innocent. He's showing love for me. He's showing friendship for the devotees. And he's avoiding the demonic. The Lord becomes more pleased with that behavior than with the behavior of the somewhat fanatical or narrow-minded devotee who, oh God, it's just you and me. And against the rest of the world, or I don't care about anyone else but you, God. They have some piety to it, but the Lord's not as satisfied with this sort of narrow-minded view in which it's all about the Lord and the devotee, and there's not mature consideration of others. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhin Krishna Prabhu offers Ishvare tad adhineshu balisheshu dvisachucha prema maitri kripapeksha ya karoti samadhyamaha.
Yes, this is the description of the Madhyamadikari. Prema Maitri Kripopeksha. Hare Krishna.
Anything from you? Srila Vishwanath has some commentary here also. He quotes Bhagavad Gita. He says, this describes the conduct of the devotee. He says, one should be tolerant of the great, merciful to the inferior, and friendly towards those of equal status. One should think of others' joy and sorrow, hunger and thirst as one's own. And then he quotes 632, Atmo pamyena sarvatra samang pashyati Arjuna, sukham ya yadi ya vadukam sayogi paramomataha. This Krishna speaking, I consider that practicing yogi who sees equally everything as equal to himself in all circumstances, whether in happiness or suffering, to be the topmost yogi. And then he says, if all beings are satisfied, one can infer that the Lord is satisfied. Sarvatma. Hare Krishna. All right, so we've come to almost the top of the hour here. We could continue with Kirtan Maharaj, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
All right, let us do so.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Jai Om Vishnupad Panamansa Paripraj Kacharya Stotra Sadashi Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Tham Ki Jai Navadip Tham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for giving us your association. And thank you, everyone, for being here for Srimad Bhagavatam with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Gaur. And thank you for the very nice kirtan. Hare Krishna.